Present, sir.
Dismiss. Dismiss कर दीजिए. नहीं dismiss कर दीजिए.
आदर्श दुबे,
Present, sir.
अभिषेक यादव, Akash Kunal.
Present, sir.
You are attending for the first time, Akash Kunal.
Yes, sir.
What were you doing for the past 10-11 lectures?
Sir, actually, my grandfather is no more, so I was busy in there.
You should have at least dropped a mail, no?
Yes, sir, I should have.
Why didn't you do that?
I'm really sorry, sir, for that.
Whatever it is, I cannot help it. So there are some marks for this, so you will lose that marks. If had you informed earlier, I would have considered.
Okay, sir.
Akshay Srivastav,
Present, sir.
Anadi Vyas,
Present, sir.
Anant Prasad,
Present, sir.
Ananya,
Present, sir.
Anil Kumar. Anil Kumar, he is also not attending. Aniruddha Das,
Present, sir.
Ankita,
Present, sir.
Anvesh Chauhan, Apan Jain, Arpit,
Present, sir.
Arvind,
Present, sir.
Aryan Saini,
Present, sir.
Ashutosh Bansal,
Present, sir.
Ashutosh Kumar, Ashutosh Kumar Yadav,
Present, sir.
Asta Jyoti,
Present, sir.
Murtaza,
Present, sir.
Devendra Patel, Devesh Pratap Singh,
Present, sir.
Dhruv Khatri,
Present, sir. Present, sir.
Dhruv Singh Rawat,
Present, sir.
Divya Singhal,
Present, sir.
Gaurav Kasat, Gaurav Pratap Singh,
Present, sir.
Satish Kumar,
Present, sir.
Harsh Bhaktani,
Yes, sir.
Harshal Shande, Harshit Gupta,
Yes, sir.
Hiralal,
Present, sir.
Hemant,
Present, sir.
Indresh,
Present, sir.
Jatin,
Present, sir.
Itisha Jain, she is not at all regular. Jatin Vinod,
Present, sir.
okay. Jitendra Kumar,
Yes, sir.
Juhi,
Present, sir.
okay. Kanav Bansal, Kirat,
Present, sir.
Keshav,
Present, sir.
Kushal, Komal,
Present, sir.
Kumar Sagar,
Present, sir.
Meghul Tyagi,
Present, sir.
Mohit Kumar, Mukul Soni,
Present, sir.
Muskan Dogra,
Yes, sir.
Narendra Kumar,
Present, sir.
Nishant Mittal, Piyush,
Present, sir.
Princy Yadav,
Present, sir.
Purva,
Present, sir.
Purva Dua, Rahul, Ravichandra,
Present, sir.
Rishav Sharma,
Present, sir.
Rizul Bansal, Romi Agarwal, Ronak Soni, Madhavika,
Present, sir.
Sahil Yadav, Sarthi Tripathi,
Present, sir.
Sanskar Parikh, Sarthi Tripathi, present.
Present, sir.
Okay, Saurabh Singh,
Present, sir.
Shashi Mochkund, Shubham Bharadwaj,
Present, sir.
Shubham Gupta, Shyam Tiwari,
Present, sir.
Siddharth Mani Tripathi,
Present, sir.
Sumit Vardhan, Tarun Trivedi,
Present, sir.
Vibhu Chacharya, Yashasvi Budhwar,
Yes, sir.
Yugant Kumar, Harshal Shande.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Okay.
Nishant Mittal also present.
Why are you coming late, Nishant, every time?
Hello.
सब पता नहीं सर, नेटवर्क इशू, पता नहीं मेरा अटेंडेंस
पता
सर
नहीं
लास्ट टाइम।
क्या अब तो पता हो रहा है।
सर आप देख लीजिए, अगर नहीं लगा
मैं
ना
क्या देखूं? कहाँ से
ये
आपको देखूंगा फिजिकली?
सर आपकी वजह से मैं
Hello?
लास्ट टाइम से था।
Hello.
Yes.
Yugant Kumar present, sir. Sir, my mic was not working.
Okay. Okay. So we'll just in the last class we have seen how we can identify the multiple solutions, and also now let us have, there is also one possibility of unbounded solution. That means basically the objective function will increase without any bound. Okay, so unbounded solutions, how do we find out whether there is an unbounded solution or not? Okay, so that is we can by seeing at the simplex table we can identify it. Suppose if you take this problem, let us say I am maximizing, okay, z is equals to x1 plus x2, okay, subject to the conditions that x1 is greater than or equal to 5, x2 is less than or equal to 10, and x1 x2 greater than or equal to 0. So what will be the solution for this? By looking at this,
Infinity, 10.
z can be infinity, isn't it? Because x2 is less than or equal to, so x2 is positive. So as I give x2 more and more, x1 plus x2 will become more and more. That basically z is answer is infinity, and x1 is 5 and x2 is infinity. Okay, so such solutions are called unbounded solutions. That means there is no solution for this. Your feasible reason is unbounded. That means basically it can go up to the infinity.
Sir,
Okay.
x1 will be infinity, right?
Yes. What?
X1 will be infinity in this case.
Sorry, x1 will be infinity. X1 is greater than or equal to 5 and x2 is 10. Yes, you are correct. Sorry. x2 is 0 and x2 is 10 and x1 is infinity. Okay, so such solutions are called unbounded solutions. So these solutions we can identify if in the simplex table in the pivotal column if all the coefficients except in z row are negative, then we will have unbounded feasible reason. Okay, so this is basically we can identify this. Usually such type of problems are very rare. Okay, but one should be able to identify that if at all it happens. Okay, so this is how we can, so we have seen the multiple solutions, how we can find out. Okay, and how we can find out whether the feasible reason bounded or unbounded. Okay, so these are all the things which we have to take care. And now let us say, see here what we have solved so far is basically what we have done is maximize. We have done a maximization problem. Okay, our constraints are less than or equal to constraints, and our right hand sides are positive values, isn't it? And all the decision variables x1, x2, x3, xn are all positive. Okay, this is what we have solved. Okay, and we have formulated the simplex rules. So how to form the first simplex table, the initial simplex table, then and we have also written down the rules how we move, okay, to the optimum value by starting from one basic feasible solution to another basic solution. And as we move from one solution to the other solutions, we will be increasing the objective function, but at the same time the solution is feasible. Okay, but in real world we may not be having the similar thing, so we may encounter variations. That means variations in the LP problems, variations from the standard form. What are all variations we can expect? Variations from standard form. The standard form which we have only is that it is a maximization problem, less than or equal to constraints, positive right hand sides, and all my decision variables are positive. Okay, so suppose if I have a minimization problem, how can I convert it? Let us say minimize f of x. How can I convert it into a maximization problem?
Multiplying with the
Multiplying
negative.
minus.
So it is
minus
nothing
1.
but equivalent to maximizing minus f of x. So if you are given a minimization problems, first you convert it into a maximization problem. Okay, then you solve as it is. Okay, and the second variation is the first variation. The second variation is that, okay, if I have a greater than or equal to constraint, what should I do? Let us say 3x1 plus 4x2 is greater than or equal to 12. Okay,
Multiplying minus both sides.
So by multiplying, what will you get? This becomes negative, no? The right hand side. We should not have a negative positive value.
Sir, we will subtract a surplus variable.
So we will subtract, that means I will 3x1 plus 4x2 minus x3, okay, should be equal to, sorry, should be equal to 12. So this is a surplus. But the problem here is, if I make x1 and x2 as 0, what will be the x3 value?
-12.
So x3 will be -12. So, but I should have an x3 a positive value, isn't it? A basic solution is one in which n variables are 0 and the other m variable should be positive. At most 0, but positive. It is non-negative. It should be non-negative. So can I, the initial starting, that means I will have x3 less 3 is equals to -12. So my basic solution will be 0, 0, -12. So which is not required, which we want, because the simplex table which we have, all the simplex rules which we have used is that we should have a non-negative values. So what can we do? If I have to start with a basic feasible solution where you have, okay, so what we do here is, okay, so we introduce, okay, what we call it as an this is called the surplus variable, okay. So we make this as an equality constraint, okay, but because x3 is becoming negative, okay, because to start the initial solution, what we do is we add what we call it as an artificial variable minus x3 plus r, okay, is equals to 12, okay. This r is called an artificial variable. What should be the value of this r at the optimum? Hello?
Greater than 12.
Greater than 12. See here, 3, I have made this as this, okay. I am adding this r. There is no need for me to add anything here, isn't it? Because 3x1 plus 4x1 minus x3 is 12. But I am adding one variable which is artificially, but at the, when the objective function, actually this value should be 0, no? Because I am adding something, I know that this will be satisfied only when r is 0, isn't it? This equality constraint, this one. So at the optimum, okay, I should drive this to 0. Artificial variable should go to 0, should become 0. How can I make it, how can I force it to go to 0? In the objective function. I will explain this, okay, by taking an example, okay, so that time it will become clear. Now let us see another some other variations, okay. So basically we will be adding artificial variables for the equality constraints also, just to start our initial simplex table, okay. Okay, afterwards during the iterations we will drive this artificial variable to 0, okay. So how we do it, okay, there are different methods. So I will be using one method, what we call it as big M method, okay. So what is that big M method? We will just I will explain today. Okay, and the another variation, let us say, is that a negative right hand sides. Okay, so let us take this as x1 plus 4x2 is less than or equal to minus 12. Okay, so how can I make this a positive right hand side? Hello? Take a negative value, so that means minus x1 minus 4x2. What will happen to this less than or equal to sign? Hello?
It will become greater than equal.
It will be greater than or equal to 12. Okay, so now again, if I have to construct, I have to make this inconsistent with the standard form. What should we do?
Add an artificial variable.
First you add a slack variable. First deduct a slack variables, that means the surplus variables, that means minus x1 minus 4x2 minus x3 should be equal to 12. Okay, but when I put x1 and x2 as 0, x3 becomes minus 12, but I should have x3 as a positive to start the initial solution. So what will we do? We have to add one more artificial variable here, x1 minus 4x2 minus x3, okay, plus r1 or whatever it is. Okay, so when these three are 0, r1 will be equal to 12. So I can start with this 0 0 0, okay, and 12. Okay, this is one way of, that means basically artificial variables are added for equality constraints and for also for the less than or equal to constraints. Okay, because first you deduct a surplus variable, then add one more artificial variable. Okay, that, and suppose if my decision variables are unrestricted in sign, that means here when we solved it, all our decision variables x1 x2 xn we have greater than or equal to 0. Suppose that x1, one of them may be unrestricted, that means it may take a negative value. How can we go about it, solving such a problem? Can I write this x1 or a variable, okay, x, any variable, unrestricted variable x, unrestricted variable x, I can write it as a difference of two positive values. Let us say x1 minus x2. Okay, where x1 is greater than or equal to 0 and x2 is greater than or equal to greater than 0 and x2 is greater than 0. Okay, so in the final solution, if x is positive, in the final optimal solution, so which one bit in x1 and x2 will go to 0? Suppose at the optimal x is a positive value. Okay, so I have written x as x1 minus x2. Okay, at the optimal, which will become 0? Because if x has to be positive, which has to go to 0?
x2.
X2. So when I have written x as x1 minus x2, where x1 is positive and x2 is positive. Okay. So if x is positive at the optimum, then we will have x2 will be 0, so that x is equals to x1. What happens if x is negative? Which one will go to 0? Hello?
X1.
So x1 will be 0, implies x will be equal to minus x2, because x2 is a positive quantity, x will be minus x2, so you will get a negative value for x. So this way we can even accommodate the variables which are unrestricted in sign. Is it clear? So now let us take a problem where you have all these variations. Okay, so whenever you see a problem which is not in the standard form, okay, what is the standard form we are talking about here? The standard form is that which we solved few classes back. The problem should be a maximization problem. The constraint should be less than or equal to constraints. The right hand sides on the constraint should be positive, and all the decision variables are positive. Okay, this is the standard form. So what are all the rules which we have discussed? It applies only that standard form. Okay, so if you encounter a problem which is not in the standard form, the first one which you have to do is you have to convert it into standard form. Okay, then you have to proceed with the simplex iterations. Okay, so now let us take a simple problem. Okay, so and first, how do we convert this into a standard form and how we solve it? So I will be just discussing. सत्येंद्र इनसे पूछो यार, नहीं ये नहीं है, इनसे पूछो सत्येंद्र, ये वो ताहा बुक कहाँ है यार? अटेंडेंस रजिस्टर नहीं है। कैसे? ताहा बुक अभी मैंने रखा था ना यहाँ, ये है ना, तो ये है। हाँ लो। Let us say I have a problem like this. Minimize z is equals to 4x1 plus x2, subject to the condition that 3x1 plus x2 is equals to 3, 4x1 plus 3x2 is greater than or equal to 6, and x1 plus 2x2 is less than or equal to 4, and x1 and x2 greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so this is my problem. Okay, so first I have to convert this into the standard problem. Here I have minimization, so we can write, first I have to convert it into maximization problem. We can write maximize. Okay, let me call this as z. Okay, so if I write it as z is equals to minus 4x1 minus 4x2. Okay, I have changed the sign of the objective function. So instead of minimizing, so minimizing z dash equal to 4x1 plus x2 is equivalent to maximizing z, which is equals to minus 4x1 minus 4x2. Okay, so I have taken this. And now what should I do for this?
Sir,
For
minus x2 instead of minus 4x2.
Okay, sorry. Minus x2, you're correct. Okay, so what should I do for this equality constraint? To start an initial this thing, I have to add one artificial variable to this, to the equality constraint. Okay, so what I do is 3x1 plus x2 plus r1 is equals to 3. We know that r1 is 0. Okay, you start with, okay, we add this. Then what should I do here for the second constraint? To make it consistent with
4x1 plus 3x2 minus
4x1 plus 3x2, yes,
minus x3
minus x3,
plus r2.
exactly, plus r2. If I write only this is equals to 0, 6, if x1 and x2 becomes 0, x3 becomes minus 6. I don't want negative minus values. Okay, so to avoid that, what we do is we add one more artificial variable r2, okay, is equals to 4. Okay, then for this x1 plus x2 plus sorry x1 plus 2x2 plus what should I do?
x4.
X4, exactly, should be equal to
4.
4x1. This is 6. Sorry, I'm not writing properly. This should be 6 and this should be 4. Now we know that x1, x2, okay, r1, x3, r2 and x4 should be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, we know that r1 and r2 should be 0. Okay, so we will incorporate this in the objective function. Okay, so now what I will do is I will write minus m times r1, okay, plus 0 times x3 minus m times r2, okay, plus 0 times x4. What I am doing here is in this m, how can I make this mr1 and mr2 to go to 0? We know that our objective function is only minus 4x1 and minus 4x2. All the coefficients here I have given 0 and here I have given 0 because r1 is 0. So I have put m. Okay, how can I drive this to 0? How can I drive r1 and r2 to 0 in the final solution? What should be the value of m? Okay, so that m into r1 becomes 0, so that so that you are forcing r1 and r2 to 0. It should be a very big value. The bigger the value of m, to drive this 0, r1 will try to become smaller and smaller, isn't it? Hello? At the final solution, we know that r1 and r2 should be 0. Okay, so to drive that, what we do is we multiply this r1 with a very big value and we deduct from this from the objective function. This is what we call it as the penalty function. That means we are penalizing R1 and R2, okay, with very big penalty, okay, so that at the optimum, this big value will drive this. So you give a very big number to M, okay, and try to solve these problems, okay. So this is how we write the. So now how many variables are there in this? Hello? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6. N plus M is equals to 6. Okay. And how many constraints are there? The number of constraints. Hello?
3.
3. M is equals to 3. Okay. So there are 6 variables and 3 constraints. So how many have them should be 0 to have a basic solution?
3.
3. Okay. So what will be the initial basic solution with which we start our simplex table? Hello? What is the initial basic solution which were, so a basic solution is one in which n variable should be 0 and the other m variable should be non-negative. What will be the initial solution? I make x1 equal to 0, x2 is equals to 0. Okay, then x4 is equals to 0. Now, how many are there? I have x1, x2, x3, x4, r1 and r2. Okay, so I will make x1 equal to 0, x2 equal to 0, x3 equal to 0. So what will be the solution for this now? What will be the initial basic solution?
0, 0, 3, 0, 6, 4,
0, yes.
3.
3 is, what is the value for R1? It is 3. Oh,
Yes,
isn't
sir.
it? X1,
Yes, sir.
X2, R1 is 3.
R1,
Then
X3 is 0.
X3 is 0. Yes.
R2 is 6.
This is X3. R2 is 6. Yes, very good. Sorry, it should
4
be
is
the
4.
It should be the other way. 6. This is R2. Okay, and X4
is 4.
4.
4.
This is my initial basic solution. I start with this. See, you can see here, I have made them 0 and the rest are 3, 6, 4, which are non-negative. That means I am starting with a basic feasible solution, okay, for the standard problem. Is this clear? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what you have to do is you have to bring this, your whatever is the problem, first you have to bring it to the standard form. Now let us write the simplex table now for this. What will be the simplex table now? The basis. Okay. Coefficients of x1, x2, r1, x3, r2, x4 and RHS. Okay, So what is the basic variable for the first row, row 1? Which is the basic variable?
R1.
R1, isn't it? So I write it, the basic variable as R1. Okay, the coefficient of is 3, x2 is 1, R1 is 1. Okay, then x3 0 0 0 3. Okay, so now come to the second one. What is the basic variable for the second constraint?
R2.
R2.
Exactly, R2. R2, then x1 is 4, 3, okay, 0, minus 1, 1, 0, 6. Okay, then what is the basic variable in the third constraint?
X4.
X4. X4, so the value is 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, 1, 4. Okay, and Z row. What is Z row? I bring it this one. Okay, so the Z row will be, I have to bring it everything here, so that is Z plus 4x1 plus x2, okay, plus m times r1 plus minus 0 times x3, it has nothing to, plus m times r2 minus 0 times x4. Okay, so when I write the Z row, okay, so what will be that? That will be 4, okay, 1, m, 0, m, okay, then 0, 0. 0 minus basic 0. Okay, is this consistent with our simplex table which we have done? What should be the, is this Z row consistent?
No.
What are the two rules
No,
which
sir.
you have to see? Okay, so what is the problem with the
In
Z
R
row here?
Basic variable.
R1 column, R2 column. In the
So
Z row
the
should be
coefficients of the basic variables, okay, in the Z row should be 0, isn't it? But here we are having m and m here, isn't it? Am I correct? See here, the my basic variables are r1, r2 and x4. Okay, for x4 in the Z row you have 0. Okay, but for r1 and r2 you don't have 0, 0. Okay, first you have to make them 0. Okay, then proceed. Okay, so how can we do that? 0. So before we start it, so we have to write new Z row is equals to old Z row minus m times r1 row minus m times basically I am doing that Gauss Jordan R2 row. Okay, so that is equals to, what is that, 4 1 m0 m00 minus m times R1 row is 3 1 1 0 0 0 3, okay, minus m times R2 row 4 3 4 3 0 minus 1 1 0 6. Okay, so what we get here is that, okay, 4 minus 7m 1 minus 4m 0 m 0 0 minus 9. Okay, I have to now replace that. Okay, this z row. Okay, so the new z row will be, okay, new z row will be, I will just replace that with this. This 4 minus, sorry, 4 minus 7m 1 minus 4m 0 m 0 0 minus 9m. Okay, so m is a very big positive quantity. Okay, now is it consistent? Hello, is it consistent now? My simplex table is consistent.
Yes.
Hello, see, there are two rules, no? So that means
RHS is negative.
which one?
RHS is negative.
Which one?
The RHS in new zero.
Minus 9m.
Yes, sir.
So that we can start with that. It is not a problem.
Okay, sir.
That can, okay, but we have to see only the basic variables. So if you see here R1 and R2 and X4, they have 0 0 0. Okay, and R1 has only coefficient 1 in this and others it is 0. R2 it has coefficient in this and others 0. X4 is 0 0. Okay, so now if m is a positive quantity, so now which one will go in now as a entering variable?
X1.
X1, because it is 4 minus 7m. Okay, 7 times m is more than minus 4 times. So which has the most negative quantity? So I will. So that means X1 will enter the basis. Okay, so what will go out? Hello, which one will go out?
R2.
You have to take the ratio 3 by 3, which is equals to 1, and 6 by 4 is equals to 1.5, and 4 by 1 is equals to 4. So which one will go out?
X4.
Huh?
R1.
R1, which has the minimum, isn't it? So this will be the departing variable. Okay, so then how will you go about it? Now once you frame this, the procedure is same. So how will I get the new R1 row? The simplex method, what should I do?
Old pivot row by pivot.
Old pivot. So this is the pivot column and this is the pivot row, and this is pivot. So the new pivot row will be equal to the old pivot row divided by pivot, because I have to get 1 for x1 in this. Okay, so when you write this, so r1 will be out of the basis. Your basic variable here for the first constraint will be x1 and 3 divided by 1. Okay, like this you have to do it. So when you keep on doing this during iterations, this m will be taken out. Okay, and you will end up with the optimal solution. So this is what we call it as the big game method. Basically what we are doing is, for equality constraints, okay, we are adding an artificial variable and we are forcing this artificial variable to 0 during the final solution. Okay, during that optimum. That means basically we are penalizing with a very big quantity and we are subtracting it, so that to make that product 0, so you will be driving the artificial variable to 0. So when you do this, okay, during the iterations, these artificial variables will be taken out of the basis. Okay, and they will, once they come out of the basis, what will be the value of what will be their value? Hello? They will be 0, no? Once they are out of the basis. Okay, so you have to do this. Okay, this is how we can solve. So I have uploaded the second tutorial. Okay, so basically there are variations in this. You can solve this tomorrow. So shall we have one what is that, extra class tomorrow from 4 to 5? Hello? Tomorrow 4 to 5. Is this clear? Big game method. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Basically what you have to do is, for greater than or equal to constraints, you deduct a surplus variable and add one artificial variable. The purpose of adding the artificial variable is to start the simplex iterations. Okay, it has nothing to do, just we are adding it artificially. Okay, but if it is less than or equal to constraint, there is no need for any artificial variable. Okay, because it's already in the standard form. Okay, so there are some other methods, like a two-step method is there. Okay, and one more is dual simplex methods. I am not going to cover them because we do not have time for all those things. Students who are interested, among these three, the dual simplex method is the most versatile one, but it takes a lot of classes, so that's why in this course I will not be able to cover it. Okay, but people who are interested, okay, and they can go through this. Basically you form so basically this dual simplex method, it avoids artificial variables. Okay, so how they do it, so that is a totally a different issue. Okay, so I will not be covering. Okay, there are two softwares. Okay, there is a software called Lingo. Okay, so here this is I think a free software, you can always download it. Okay, so the problems which I have given, okay, so you can solve it by hand, and also if you want to check it, you can use this software Lingo. Okay, there you have to just plug in the objective function and the constraints, so it will give you the answer. Also you can cross check your values with that. Okay, is this clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
So this almost completes the linear programming problems. Okay. So in the next class, tomorrow's class 4 to 5. So I will be taking the dynamic programming. Okay. So what is dynamic programming? How do we go about it? Okay. So dynamic programming is a very powerful tool which we use in water resources. Okay. It is used for many of the water allocation problems, capacity expansion problems, okay, uh, reservoir operation problems. How do we operate our reservoir so that the benefits are maximized? Okay, so how we solve it using dynamic programming, I will be taking in another 4 or 5 classes. Okay, today we will stop here. So tomorrow we will have the tutorial from 11 to 12 for one batch, and in the afternoon we'll have from 4 to 5 the lecture class. Okay. I will
Sir, if the final answer is in the form of M, then
no,
how can
no, it will not be in the form of M. It will go out. Okay.
Okay.
It will go out. You do it, you will know. Okay. Basically, I will be taking out all this R1, R2 and all those things outside. So automatically, even in the Z also it will go out. Okay. You try 1 or 2 problems, you will come to know. Okay. So at the beginning, at the outset, it looks I may have, if I have M, yes, that's a good question. Okay. But it will go out. Okay. You try it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. We'll stop here.